Hello Star Wars fans, Mando Mitchy back today, and we're going to be starting a new playlist series on building the Mos Eisley Cantina diorama. So on my list of projects to do in 2026 is to build a cantina. So on the screen is the HasLab Mos Eisley Cantina base offering set that came out last year. I wasn't collecting when this funded actively. Didn't even know what a HasLab was. I'd been away from the hobby, since I was a kid, basically. And I didn't order this, and so I had no intention of buying actually the HasLab Cantina set. My plan was to 3D print and build my own custom set. I found some plans on like Lens Labs and some other really cool stuff. Hole in the Ground Productions has some cool stuff. So that I was kind of going in that direction. And then at a toy show, I met an individual, and he had one for sale. It was the base offering minus the figures. And I got to look at the price and thinking about it, and had the discretionary money then to get that. So I went ahead and purchased this. So today I've opened the box just to basically look inside it earlier this winter when I bought it, but haven't done anything else. So what my goal is to, I'm not really doing an unboxing video or anything like that. So many people have done great work with that, and I've watched a lot of that on YouTube, and so many good creators, collectors have done some cool stuff. But my thing is, I'm going to, I guess, document the process of me creating the diorama display that fits the shelf space that I have for this. I've got some ideas, but until I get it out, assemble at least temporarily and see kind of how it fits in that I've got kind of a 3.5 foot by 2 foot shelf space that is right next door to my Jabba's Palace display. If you've not seen that playlist, that's one of my favorite things. And also I've got a playlist of building 3D printing and building Jabba sail barge, really cool stuff too. You might take a look at that. But what I want to do is assemble this, at least in part, so that I can set it in place and see how it fits. And then begin to create around that in that space. I don't know that I'm gonna have a lot of space, just in my mind thinking, once I get the half side, the alcoves, the entranceway, and the bar in, I don't know that I'll have any other space. I do have plans on another Tatooine diorama with a sand crawler and the purchase of the droids and Tuscans and that too. So a lot of that might go into that, but I want to see what this looks like as far as setting this up. One thing that I am committed to is custom lighting. I've seen some people do some things. I've done custom lighting in a lot of my dioramas. I love electronics. I love to work with that. So I've got some plans, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to execute those plans until I get out and see what space I have to work with. Is it fiber optics? Is it just regular LEDs? Am I going to do like pulsing LEDs, flashing LEDs? Am I going to do filament type LEDs around the bar? There's a lot of cool stuff out that I've seen in model railroading and diorama building, and I don't know until I get in there. I really want it to be cool. I really want it to stand out and pop. I want it to look great. I don't want light bleed through, and there's so many other things that I just have personal issues with things that I don't really like the way that looks. So I want it to look really, really good. So I want to get into this and start this build. This is going to stretch out for months, I know, as I assemble and kind of go through. I don't have all the figures. I've been collecting Cantina figures as I've seen things come along. I bought everything that Hasbro's released lately, but there's a lot of those old expensive figures I haven't gotten. I don't have the Tonica sisters. I've got some ideas on some customs. I don't know. I can't see spending $125 to $150 per figure right now. It's kind of, I can't bring myself to pay that for a vintage Kenner last 17, let alone a modern figure that was produced. So I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I think during this playlist I'll determine all that as well. And so yeah, so we're going to start in this video just unboxing, basic assembly, and placement. So let's get it out of the box. We'll start. I don't anticipate assembling all the drink tubes and all those cool things just right now. I just really want to get the bar together and the alcoves and the entrance and just get it in place. So next thing we're going to look at is probably that basic assembly and how it fits in that canvas that I have and that. So let's do that part next, and then we'll get it in place and see how this is going to take shape for my display and my diorama. All right. Many days have passed since the first segment of this video as I've been mulling over what kind of design and how I want to set the Cantina diorama up. And I've came to a pretty firm stance and conclusion on what I'm going to do with this. So you can see this is the base offering Cantina. It's set on a piece of, this is construction roll cardboard that contractors use. And what I did was I took the footprint in my shelf display beside my Jabba's Palace, and I cut those exact measurements onto this cardboard placemat so that I have a template and I can design this, you know, not on the shelf, but I can kind of conceptualize and try things and work in that. So what I did was assembled this. I wasn't going to put all the bar pieces and all that together, but I went ahead and got this, you know, just when I got started, I just couldn't stop. And I've heard some people criticizing kind of how challenging it was and this and that. And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed doing this. And maybe that says something about me, but I really enjoyed just the detail and the challenge, and you know, I could sit and do that stuff all day. So that was a lot of fun. But not to get off track or off topic here and off track on what my vision is for this. So as I've decided, you can see my footprint here, and I'll move a little bit. I'll move a little bit so you can see, but there's the footprint that I have that I'm working with as set up on this table. And so what my thought is with this base offering, I've got my three alcoves set up over there, and I've got the entrance set up in this corner here. I've got the bar set up on this side. And then, so as I was trying to make sense, you know, with the base offering, you get this piece to go on this side typically. But what I've decided to do is something different. I'm going to, a couple of things here as I go. With my footprint that I have, I want to maximize the space, and I will say this as I start. If you are one of those purists, it has to be movie accurate, and I can't stray off the beaten path in the diorama, action figure, or anything, go ahead and click the video off now, because what I'm going to get ready to tell you is going to unravel you. Because I am, you know, a customizer at heart, imaginative person, and just like I fill in those gaps and just want to create and do stuff that's cool. So this is going to be the Star Wars Mos Eisley Cantina, kind of the part that you didn't see. So I'm excited to do this. So with that, I'm going to build make two walls here to divide this part and actually come all the way through here. So this will be divided from Jabba's Palace with that. And I've already got the paint pretty much matched up from this color. So I'm going to go in and not really doorways, but more just walls with that stuccoed look. Probably some piping and some other stuff that's going to look cool that I'll weather in that. And then over here, this is actually going to be the office maybe you would have saw in a back room. And because of my footprint, I didn't want to give up this because I've got Jabba's Palace to the back side of this. So there's going to be an office here, and that's kind of a surprise. And if you are up on the vintage collection, you might know kind of what that's going to be. So I'm excited about that part. So one thing I'm going to do for sure, I don't like the look, the exposed look, and in my display, you're going to see the top of this bar piece. I've already got the pattern template made, a piece cut somewhat, but we're going to have a trimmed out painted piece on top of that. Bar completely lit, so I'm going to light from the top down in the bar. I'm going to light from the inside of the center section of the bar up, and actually I'm going to light the bar, this bar piece itself up as well. So that's really going to be cool. So I'm excited about that. So that's going to have that. Then there's going to be a top on the alcoves, and not just the top. Actually, we're going up the floor. There's going to be another bar level. So we're going to have a second story seating area and hangout for this hive of scum and villainy in the Mos Eisley Cantina. So I'm going to make this ceiling for this, but it's going to be a ceiling but also a floor. I'm going to custom make a railing, and that's going to go all the way over to this corner and come all the way to this part and be that level. Now, what I toyed with was, all right, if I'm going to do a second level, how do I get the patrons to the second level? So I worked for quite a while trying to make a spiraling staircase that would come up through this area and go up here to this level. And I succeeded in part, but I just didn't like the look of it. And then it dawned on me, you wouldn't have stairs in Star Wars, just as you don't have hinges. Everything is a little sliding electronic pocket door. You'd have an elevator. So, gave birth to a super cool idea, inspired by the vintage Kenner Death Star elevator. So I've already got that in the days since I did this first segment of just talking about doing this. I've got the plans, the base part of that, the design, everything's in my mind, and I've got that raw material, those things to work on. I don't want to show you guys yet. I'm going to do that in a separate video. But yeah, so we're going to have an elevator where you're going to, the patrons would come up, enter here, and come out here into this, and then this will be all second story. Now, another thing that's cool, so as you come down to here, this is going to be all that, and I've got the height in my shelf. But if you look, let's put Hammerhead. I've put a couple figures out here. You can see where his head is there. If we were to go that level across over here, you wouldn't be able to have figures stand in there. So I want to actually bring that floor over here. So I'm going to raise this up a couple inches and create a piece, and then there'll be a step up here, and we'll have another section that we can have a scene with patrons and almost like a makeshift alcove over here as well. So I'm excited about that. So I feel like going 2 stories in this footprint, because the Cantina footprint's huge, I'm going to become close to getting the space that you would get if you set up the deluxe version of this and maximize the figures and what we can get set up here. So I don't know where I'm going to put the band yet. I thought about putting the band right here in this corner, and that's possible. But then I thought, how cool would it be to maybe even have the band up here, like you see in these bars and that, where the DJ is up high above everybody. Maybe I do that. I don't know. But I'm really excited about that. So we're going to have that second story elevator, the owner's office, lit up bar, ceiling, and all trimmed out on that. I've got the parts ordered. I want actually fully functional droid detector. So I've got those. I love wiring in LEDs and doing all that. So we're going to go with that. Even on the lights in the alcoves and all this, I'm not going to go with what they sent. Actually, we're going to wire in the LEDs, and then on the back lighting of the alcoves where you would have that like the outside ambient light, I'm going to have LEDs with like translucent plastic back there, so it really would look like almost like it's daylight outside in Tatooine and that light is shining in. So I'm excited about that part as well. So lighting, second story, just all this stuff. So a lot to do. So stay tuned, and I will continue to update as we make progress. All right, so this is officially going to be the end of my first segment of building the cantina. So let me give you guys an update on what I've done here so far. So what I just finished was the roof above the entrance. So I'll go ahead and show the pictures now. You can see I test fit this in my shelf area, in my display area, in my work office where this is going to be at. And so this is designed specifically for that. So the base offering sort of fit. No way a deluxe would fit. I don't have the real estate to give that up. And as my crazy mind started just coming up with possibilities, I thought, man, I cannot escape that second story. So I could have, granted this, and I apologize if you're like, oh, that's not in the movie. I know that. But in my mind, this is going to be cool. And I'm trying to represent, just my interpretation and making the best use of my space. So I'm going to be able to maximize my area. And so on my template here on the construction rollout cardboard, it mirrors my shelf space. So I was able to design this custom for that. And so you're going to see, I've got the roof on this. So what had to happen on this area? So if you went across with this level in the alcoves and you would see it comes about here, your figures can't stand up in there then. So I thought, okay, I need to raise that. And then actually, as I looked at the change in the depth, the height, and that just seemed cool to me. I'm like, man. So, this piece is rounded, but I thought, man, I could make this kind of like a cool balcony area and it's thing all on its own. So as I did that, I started custom making these steps. And so this is all PVC, white PVC that I had found, and it's repurposed. And then what I did was I had coated it with like drywall mud or, like sheetrock filler. Depending on where you live and what that term would be, because I wanted that stuccoed look like the cantina has. So you can see I did that on the bar top. This is a piece of PVC that I'd cut out, and then I went in. So I did all that textured work on all of this, and so then I went in and painted it with a white color. That's I don't remember what the name of this is. I'll try to put that in the video notes. And these aren't weathered yet. So these are the filler doors over here, walls over here. But so, and that's foam core, but this is PVC. So we raised this area up about 1.5 inches. And you can see now any of my figures can stand up in there, even IG-88 could stand up under there. So we've got that, and I'm actually going to put lights inside there. Some cool 3D printed lights that I have for that. And there's something I used on my sail barge. So if you didn't watch that, this is a fixture piece that I've printed, and I'll paint that and weather it. And then the LED looks like it's the bulb for the light. So really cool industrial look. But anyway, so we made those steps, made that. So what you're going to see then in these coming parts, I'm going to be talking about lighting. That's going to be a big segment. You'll want to watch that because we're going to go, you can see as I've got this finished top here, we're going to light the bar up. Fiber optics on the top section, fiber optics inside the bar, and then lights inside the center section as well. Not fiber optics, but LEDs inside that. So it's going to be completely lit. There's no stairs here. You can see in very Star Wars fashion, we've needed a device that you can get from one floor to the other. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. There's elevators in Star Wars. So inspired by the Kenner Death Star elevator, I'm going to have a custom elevator right there. I'm really excited about that. That'll be its own video. This over here, this was the piece that kind of bridged these gaps because as you see, we just had this Mos Eisley release. And I thought, you know, if I could work this in, I don't have any room on this side because this is Jabba's palace. But hey, maybe we could work in an office for a figure who just was released at a 4-pack. So look forward to that. I'm really excited about working all that out. So we'll have the that device to bring you up. That's going to be in there. The lighting in all the alcoves, flashing LEDs, you know, you name it. It's going to be really, really cool. A custom railing because, you know, hey, they had, you know, we don't want these guys falling to their death, you know. So we're going to have some custom railing that I'm excited about making around these sections and that. So that's going to be really, really cool. And then what I think I'm going to do is do a raised platform in this corner, and that's where the modal nodes are going to be performing. I thought about putting them up here, but I thought, I really kind of like them. So this is going to be kind of its own alcove, like cool hangout area right there. So I think the band's going to be here, and then all the other action that's going on in here through the cantina. It's been weeks since I did my last part of this segment. So it's taken me a while just to come up with these concepts. And you can see on the table back here, I've got all this stuff laid out. And it's been a lot of work, but it's been so much fun. So I'm excited about getting this you know, together and progressing. And man, I love the process. It's fun to do it. It's fun to get it done, but it's really fun to do it. So I don't rush through this if I can help it. So we're going to be going through that. So stay tuned. I would just encourage you to like and subscribe. You're going to want to see some of these other things that I do with this. And this is going to continue on from, you know, all these different parts of this build into custom figures and just placement and just all kinds of cool stuff. And there's probably things that I haven't even thought about that I'm probably going to do in here too. So, so definitely take some time and kind of go through this playlist. So I want to show you two things before we're done. So I always try to do some, you know, Easter eggs. Look at this guy. And if you've never seen this, this is a Super 7. It's called one of the worst. And this guy is in true Walrus Man Kenner fashion. I just had to pick him up because he's not going to be in my cantina, but he might be in my vintage Kenner cantina. So look at that guy. What a fascinating thing. I love these Super 7 action figures. So, so maybe that's something you ought to consider getting for your collection to show you the card back. The worst. Red Tiger, questionable smuggler. So very, very cool. So Easter egg there. It's very, very neat. And then I want to show you one other thing. So I've not really done much wiring, but I know I wanted to do some custom lighting in this. I already talked about some of that. So let me go handheld here. Droid detector, activate. So some flashing LEDs. I diffused light and positioned those to where I saw some people that did this. You could just see the actual bulbs flashing. I do have this one. I don't have it wired up right now, but both of those are going to flash that blue. I'm going to have some other flashing lights in here. So anyway, so really excited. Again, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. Go check out my playlists. I've really been able to do some cool stuff, and I love every second of this. I'm passionate about Star Wars, love collecting, love just to pass this on as well and share with the community. So check that out. Subscribe, like, and again, thank you guys for watching. Look for part 2. This is Mando Mitchy. God bless you all. We'll see you in a video next time.